visiting scholar at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace think tank. He joins us from Washington, D.C. So, Aqil, when we hear the Taliban today deliver the general points that we've heard them in their prior press conferences, one thing that stood out was when they were asked directly about the human rights situation in Afghanistan. We heard the acting minister there say, well, they have implemented human rights at the highest level. This should be commended by the world. But when we see the realities on the ground in certain instances of the summary killings of women protesters attacked, does the Taliban politically, especially in terms of human rights, have any credibility around the world?
The Taliban has zero credibility. Despite their promises of protecting women's rights, for instance, they have lashed out and used violence against protesters all across Afghanistan. There have been reports of revenge killings. There is reports from Kandahar, as the footage you just showed, of mass displacement of people. So no, the Taliban do not have any credibility whatsoever when it comes to human rights. They are known, they're known to be a very violent, extremist, hardline movement. And I think the only reason they bring about, they bring up human rights is primarily to assuage international concerns. But there's a clear gap between their rhetoric and their action.
All right, Aqil, and the international community, various countries we've heard already, are saying that politically, this is aside from humanitarian aid, if they are to deal with the Taliban and work with them, then the Taliban has to live up to these pledges. How much does international pressure in the political sphere matter to the Taliban at this point?
Well, if you just take the example of the government or the interim cabinet they have appointed, it doesn't seem to be, the Taliban don't seem to be under a whole lot of pressure, or don't really seem to have any incentive to moderate their rhetoric or their political action. So, they have appointed, as you know, Sirajuddin Haqqani as the interim caretaker minister, who has I believe, $5 million bounty on his head, and other leaders on the UN sanctions list. And they made no effort whatsoever to include ethnic minorities, let alone women, in the cabinet. So I think that as time goes by and the economic conditions worsen, as they are quite likely to do so, there might be some flexibility that they might show, but at the moment they don't really seem to be succumbing to any international demands for human rights or for giving, different ethnic minorities representation. It seems to be, they believe they won the war, and they have the right to govern Afghanistan in whatever way they like.
Right. They said today they deserve to be recognized. Aqil Shah, thanks for your input.